Hello, and welcome to the first video in the Guild of the Rose class, How to Make Deep and Wide Social Network, aka Making Friends in New Places the Easy Way. What we will be going over this class is going to be not only how friendships function and are created, but how we can nurture this process and how we can become good friends so that other people are excited to be part of our network. Before we begin, we should ask ourselves the question, why friendships matter? The truth is, a huge amount of research has begun to arise that we have a loneliness epidemic, not just in the Western world, but across the planet. And this has had some terrible effects on our health. Experts say that the feeling of being disconnected from our community is as dangerous to our health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day and twice as harmful as being obese. This research doesn't reflect how skillful we are at small talk, but whether we feel we have people in our lives we can really trust. Now, besides the health benefits, we might want to ask ourselves, what really happens from a friendship? And for that, we will do a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. When we analyze this, the weaknesses of friendship are that it does allow you to be influenced by others, but that's more of a filtering problem than a problem with the concept of friendship itself. And any threats that happen to your friendships probably have the same mechanism, which means that when you look at it, there are only strengths and opportunities from friendships, or at worst, neutrality. This is what Nassim Taleb would call anti-fragile. Now, this is not true all of the time, but it does make it clear that most of the time a bad friendship will only hurt you slightly, whereas a good friendship has infinite potential to make your life better, from networking to possibly helping you out in your direst need, bailing you out of jail, visiting you in the hospital. A friend is someone who you want to be there with you when you celebrate the best moments in your life and who you trust to be there at the worst. Given that, we should ask ourselves, what are the basic stages of friendship? And what research has revealed is that there generally seem to be about 5 different stages of friendship. All the links for the research will be in the doobly-doo below. The first is someone you would consider an acquaintance. This, on average, takes about 51 hours. So think about the person that you see at the coffee shop every day when you go there for a drink. You don't communicate very much, but you've seen each other enough, and maybe you've said some things in line that you would call them an acquaintance. Now, at this stage, we would liken this to the emotion of curiosity, so this will be our first filter. You have lots of people in your life who you probably could figure out are acquaintances by the hour, but are you interested in any of them? If you are, now you go to the next stage, and this is when you actively make an effort to try and get to know them, the exploratory phase. We can consider this a casual friend after about 75 hours. And it should be noted, the quality of the time counts a lot. 100 hours spent discussing the weather is not as valuable as 30 hours talking about your past. Well, let's say that you've maybe had a drink or gone to a theater show or something with this casual friend, and you've known each other for a while, and you're out of the exploratory phase where you guys feel familiar with each other. That's who you would call a friend, and that happens on average around 122 hours. Now, the next stage is going to be a big time leap, because this is the time in a friendship where you're trying to figure out if you can trust this person with deeper secrets. It's the feeling each other out stage, so that you can discover how comfortable they are with opening up to you. And after around 233 hours, someone you consider a good friend, you can be very vulnerable with them. You can tell them about the times you feel weak, about when you don't really like yourself. Those are important aspects of the social network that help us with venting and help us process. And then there comes a stage where someone has gone beyond friend and become almost family. And you can consider this around 737 hours on average. As you can see, a huge leap in time, but that's what makes someone a best friend, someone who you will probably know for the rest of your life or theirs. Now, it is important to realize that these are all just averages, but there are at least two other major components to friendship, which I would describe as attitude and vulnerability. And what I mean by that is if two people just have similar attitudes about life, maybe not similar interests, but a similar dynamic in approaching it, the same vibe as you were, this can really, really change how quickly these happen. Now, I would say that this has at least one other property, which is how complementary you are to each other. If a person is completely different from you, there's no way to really understand them. And if entirely the same, there's probably all the same weaknesses multiplied. But in a good friendship, you realize after some time that you work well together because you fill in each other's gaps. Now, for each component of this dynamic that you see with someone, you can assume you can just skip a level between acquaintance to casual friend, from friend to good friend, from good friend to best friend forever. So to give some examples, let's say you have a coworker who you share very little with in terms of personal life or personality, but both of you work very well together. So much so that the two of you at work become almost a dynamic duo. Whether you want to or not, after you've seen that this other person is confident, your mind will start to make you feel affectionate for them because being around them brings you good results at work. It's a feedback loop, and this will cause you to kind of just skip the acquaintance level, and after around 51 hours, you're suddenly casual friends. On the other side, sometimes two people will meet and they have nothing complimentary about each other, but they just understand each other's worldviews and they just click. And in a very rare occasion, you have someone in your life who meets both of these. And you can go straight from acquaintance to friend or even good friend with only 75 hours invested or so. Again, all these numbers are averages, but it's worth noting. So that's how the attitude factors into friendship, or the vibe of factors into friendship. The other part is vulnerability. Vulnerability is the threshold between these layers, because I'm sure everyone can think of someone they've known for a long time, but never really connected with. Some signs that a friendship is stalling at one of these plateaus is a feeling of awkwardness or flatness, or you leave thinking, well, I didn't really get anything out of that, and I'm pretty sure they didn't either. Those are all signs that the friendship either is plateaued here and it needs to change, or that both people need to accept that this is where the friendship is going to end up solidifying. The way you get through those hurdles with the people you choose are worthy of going past those hurdles is to expose your vulnerability, to expose risk to yourself, and to share those. Everyone remembers a friend you broke the rule with when you were young, and how, even if the rule was minor, the act of giving each other vulnerability to each other, because you could always, tell on each other or tattle, that makes people closer. When you tell someone about the worst moment in your life and you listen about theirs, that vulnerability breaks through that layer and pushes you into the next layer of friendship. So, now that we've known about the different stages of friendship, how long it generally takes to get there, and how we can notice when a friendship has plateaued and how to push past that, our next lesson is going to be about how to do this as an adult, because it is much harder as an adult, as you can figure out very quickly, and how we can pick the people we want to be our friends. Your homework for next week is to determine 3 qualities you want in a friend group and start to walk every day for 10 minutes and offer 3 sincere compliments. And a sincere compliment is defined as only complimenting someone on something they had active agency in choosing that day. You can do this throughout your daily routine. And for those people who are quarantining because of epidemics and whatnot, you probably also have a digital routine of websites you check and media you consume. Think about that routine and try to see if you can send 3 sincere compliments to creators or people in your network every day. The important part with both of these homeworks is not to expect anything in response. The point is not for you to suddenly make friends with this exercise. The point is that by getting into the habit of offering sincere compliments throughout your day, you create more opportunities for people to reach out to you and begin this cycle of friendship. If you're interested in this or any other courses, please visit theguildoftherose.org and learn more about our classes and join our Patreon.